Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to talk about tonight is something that I've got to show you zoomed out of what actually went down with this Pistol Brace Congressional Review Act and why the left resisted so hard. When you zoom out and you look at all the moves that they made, all the different players that were involved, all to stop something which they had no chance of actually becoming law, it begs the question of why, and that's what we're going to walk through right now. And here's a little hint. They are afraid of you. You are winning, you have more momentum than you think you do, and you matter. All right, everything's linked in the description box below, but let me walk you through this, my brothers and sisters. But before I do, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. We need as many of you as possible to get in here with us. We distribute freedom on the daily here on this channel, and we'd love to have you in here with us every single day. Thank you so much in advance for your consideration, but let's get into this because we have got some stuff to talk about. So, here's what we've got, basically. We have House Joint Resolution 44. This is something that was filed under the Congressional Review Act, which is the rebuttal to the ATF basically passing a rule and acting as law around pistol braces. You guys know this in and out. It's nothing new. Well, it actually ended up passing. So it passed the House. We're going to get back to that in 1 second. But what I want to show you right now is now that it's passed the House and it's all done, I want to show you what actually occurred from the left and point out a few things that make it very interesting of why. Exactly, I said earlier, why would they care so much and so hard about something they knew had no chance of doing anything? Check this out, because here we're just going to start back in April. Now, back in April, Giffords.org, the main gun control group in the United States, filed a letter to the leaders of both houses, that were both chambers rather, the House and the Senate, against the House Joint Resolution 44. Back then, it wasn't even scheduled for a vote, but they wanted to kill it before it became something. They sent it to every single leader, and they said, this is a terrible thing. Pistol braces need to be here to stay, and here's the reasons why. But where there's smoke, there's fire. That's an important piece to understand. The left, gun controllers, they will always tell you what they're afraid of when they do things just like this. Once is a fluke. When you see the next three things I'm about to show you, you're going to see there is something else here, and we will tie this all together. So, shortly after that, about a month later, we started having the House Joint Resolution 44 pick up steam. It became a part of a leverage momentum action from the debt ceiling debacle, and now it got put on the floor and eventually passed. Well, right before that, Biden put this out, the Statement of Administrative Policy from the Executive Office of the President. Now, in that specifically, they say the quiet part out loud. Check this out. This administration has no higher priority than keeping the American people safe, which is jeopardized with a vote in support of a resolution that makes it easier for mass shooters to obtain these deadly weapons. Of course, that's a bunch of crap. It has nothing to do with anything like that nature. Whatever. If House Joint Resolution 44 were presented to the president, he would veto it. No kidding. We've talked about this multiple times. This thing has to pass the House, then it has to pass the Senate. Then Biden, whose executive branch made this rule, would have to accept it and sign it into law and basically repeal the executive action from the ATF. That's never going to happen. We all know it. You know it, we know it, they know it, everyone knows it. So why all the juice against something that they know will not become a thing? It's about political power. I'm going to get to that in 1 second because, like I said, this passed. But here's the sponsor. So I showed you this in a prior video. Representative Andrew Clyde, of course Biden intends to veto my resolution to block the ATF's unconstitutional pistol brace rule. The president's entire goal is to disarm our nation and dismantle our Second Amendment rights. But Congress will not back down in the fight to protect Americans' two-way freedoms. That's the sponsor. Now, like I said, since he wrote this, it has become a passage from the House and goes to the Senate. Now, that's a whole different thing. Got one more thing for you, and this is kind of the cherry on top. Again, they will always tell you what they're afraid of. Where there's smoke, there's fire, and in this case, there's a ton of smoke coming from this. Democrats employ familiar tactic to counter GOP gun bill. This was the day the bill actually passed. They put forward what was it called? It was a motion. It was I can't remember the exact word right now. But they basically pulled it out of committee, passed the speaker. They tried to get a vote on assault weapons ban, mag bans. They tried to get H.R. 8, 1446, universal background checks, all the goodies, in order to peel away some Republicans to stymie this vote from happening. So now, again, to zoom out, you have The Giffords.org, gun control, making smoke. You had the executive presidency making smoke. You have the Democrats in Congress making smoke and doing a counteractive tactic to the actual bill. Why? Why would they go this hard? Again, if you zoom out, you see what this truly is. This is about something bigger than just this bill, because the bill is dead. The reason that this is so important, it gets congressional members on actual voting, on paper, to say where they stand on something going into an election year. That's important. The executive branch, the gun controllers, and the House doesn't want that to happen, because then it can be used against them in the elections for House members or for senators going forward, particularly ones in purple districts or purple states in the Senate's case. The reason they came so hard against this was not because they thought it was going to pass and become law and undo all of these things. The reason they came so hard at this was because they know it's going to be used as a political bludgeon against them in about 15 months. This is going to be something massive, particularly for vulnerable Senate Democrats and vulnerable House members who voted or did not vote for this. It puts them on paper. It puts them in a sticky position, which is why they were giving them all this cover to make this vote not happen, from the gun control groups to the executive branch to the actual Democrats in the House. This was all about saving face of the members in order not to face tough questions about the fact that they betrayed the Second Amendment when it comes to re-election time, when the Democrats are already disfavored. That is what this is all about. Make no mistake, this is about political power across the spectrum, not just about the Second Amendment rights. It just so happens to be in this case that the ATF and the Second Amendment rights that are being infringed are the focal point. But again, make no mistake, this is about something bigger: Democrat centralized power and the elections that are coming up. And that is why it's important, and that's why you have more power than you think you do, because they are afraid of what you will do with this type of information. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.